think it's
How's
technically
everyone doing?
evening.
Okay, I guess everyone's doing good. All right. It's all right. Oh, thank you. Thanks for coming, you guys. My name's Patrick. You might have seen me play a box before, or play a drum, or maybe take pictures, or maybe you see me at a bar getting... Never mind, I'm kidding.
You're 21 now, so you can.
21 now, yeah. But eat it up. And this guy beside me is...
I'm Patrick Priest. I haven't known Britton as long as he has, but I met Britton in November 2018. I built a website for him, did some merchandise for him, and so I kind of act as his marketing guru. So yeah, we're thrilled to have you all here tonight to help celebrate Britton's debut single. It's called Cross My Mind. You guys will actually be the first ones to hear it.
Kind of, sort of. It's a great song, and we're really excited for you to hear it. Do we have a comment?
Huh?
Never mind.
So should we bring him out?
Yeah, we should bring him out.
Let's bring him out.
Welcome Britton Buchanan, guys. Woo! Come on, boy.
Thank you. Thanks for coming tonight. It means a lot to me. I know that it's a Wednesday night and you have work or school. Maybe you have nothing to do tomorrow. Either way, thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. It's going to be hopefully for you guys, a good time.
Britton, I think a lot of people are going to be surprised to hear what this song sounds like. A lot of people look at you as a rock performer, singer, songwriter. Some people have even said that, including Blake Shelton in your blind audition, a little bit country.
And the Sanford Herald said that too the other day.
It is true. Exactly what genre would you call Cross My Mind?
You know, this song to me is just a straightforward pop record. You'll hear it later. You heard a little bit of it on the speakers when I was walking out. By the way, this is basically a video podcast for my YouTube channel. So that's why we're sitting in these chairs and talking the way that we're talking, just so it doesn't seem weird to you. But yeah, it's just a pop song that it's a singer-songwriter Laurel Canyon song that's in a pop song's clothes. So
You called it Laurel Canyon Pop.
Laurel Canyon Pop.
Laurel Canyon, I like that. That's really good.
Yeah.
I do like that too.
Hey, look at that, boy.
Hey, look. Hey, we're already coming up with new things here.
Now, can that be listed on iTunes and Spotify? Is that a genre?
Laurel Canyon Pop?
Yeah.
Not yet, man. We may make it, though.
Yeah, we can do that.
It's kind of been a long journey to get here, though. So let's talk a bit about that journey. You ended The Voice in what was it, March of 2018? May 2000 or 2018?
You didn't watch.
I didn't watch that. Wow.
You had to call me out on it, huh? All right. It is true. I've looked it up on YouTube and seen a couple of performances. Plus, you forced me to watch it today, too. So.
Yeah.
But what I would like to know, because we don't talk a lot about it, when you were standing on stage and you didn't hear your name as the winner, what was going through your mind?
Well, I thought, no, it was a long journey, and I think the whole point of doing it wasn't really to win. I think we just wanted to make it as far as we could. When you get that far, when you get to the finale, it really doesn't matter what place you come in. I always say the difference between fourth place. Well, thank you. The difference between fourth place and first place is $100,000 in a record contract. So, I mean, you have the same amount of exposure and the same amount of airtime and all that stuff. So my goal was to win. I didn't think I was going to make it on the show anyway. So if you told me that I was going to come in second place, I would have laughed way too hard. So, you know, I was thinking, well, this worked out, didn't it?
Patrick, as his best friend, you weren't able to be there during the finale. You were back here in Sanford. What was kind of going through your thoughts?
Honestly, I called it. I knew you were gonna lose, but like in the best way possible. Because I knew that it was the best situation you could have been in. And even though I was like sad, and I was like, man, he's not like doesn't get the money.
It would have been nice.
I was still happy for him, and I was still like, all right, this is where it all starts. This is where it gets good. Because the show was just like the beginning of it. The show was just like everyone recognizing it. And then now everyone really recognizes it.
Yes.
It's very nice of you, Patrick.
So literally the next day after the finale, you fly home. It's a 4-hour flight from LA to Raleigh.
No, it was longer. From out of layover in Dallas, which is the only time I've ever been to Dallas.
It's pretty nice. I was just
It was the only time I was ever on a plane that had 3, 3, and 3. You know, usually they're.
Did you feel special?
No, I was scared, man. All those final countdown, the Langoliers, and all that.
Did you have a window seat?
That stuff.
Hey,
I
where do
did.
you
I had a
sit?
window seat.
Oh, yeah, you're lucky.
Yeah, I had a window
Imagine
seat.
sitting in the middle of that.
Yeah,
You're on like the 6th seat in the middle.
that would be the
Like
worst.
not even
man.
know. Yeah.
It would be
That's-
terrifying.
But on the plane, were you reflecting about what has happened the past few months, or were you like looking towards the future?
I think for me, it was always straight ahead. I mean, that was something that Alicia and I had talked about. By the time that I got off the stage that night, sorry, Alicia and Paul Merkovich, the music director for The Voice, and I had already had a date to record a record. We already had a week. We were getting the band together. We were ready to go. And so for me, it was always looking forward. I was just ready to get back in July and start recording a record.
Everyone knows you're a Springsteen fan.
Yeah,
One of the
that's me.
biggest, probably,
Yeah.
that I know of at least. You actually got to meet him not too long after the show. Kind of give us the details on that, how that came together.
That was a crazy day in New York City. I flew into New York with my friend Alan, who's a retired Cary High School basketball coach and teacher as well. But I flew into New York really early in the morning with him. I think we were at the airport at 5 or 6 or something. And we landed in New York. We got in a taxi at LaGuardia. We didn't even hail an Uber. We were too excited. We said, we're going straight. This is going to be authentic. We're going to get in a taxi. And then it was like morning traffic, and taxi is all about time and not distance. So it cost us a heck of a lot more than an Uber would have. But we
Plus
got there.
tolls.
We went to Greenwich Village, and we had lunch with Steve Van Zandt from the E Street Band, which is amazing. Went to this Italian restaurant in the village. And
I love Italian.
yeah, me too.
A little too
so
much.
does Steve. And we had a great lunch, and we talked about how we were seeing the show and where we were sitting and all that stuff. And he wrote it all down, and I guess sent it off. So by the time we got to the show, after the show ended, we got whisked backstage. And I met Bruce. He was the nicest guy. We hung out for about 10 or 15 minutes. He said some really sweet, really encouraging things, and that meant a lot to me, obviously. And then we left the theater, and we went to Alicia's studio in New York and picked the songs for a record I was going to record in less than a month after that. And the way we did it was so weird. I had a Dropbox folder of about 50 or 60 songs that I had written at that point, and we would listen to, at the eye doctor when it's like 1 or 2. 1 or 2 or 3. That's how it was.
I always feel so much pressure on that too. It's like, which one?
Dr. Byer always makes me feel at home when I do that. So that's good. So we did it like that. We would listen to the first 30 seconds of each song, and we narrowed it down to 10. We went over and over and over again. And that's how we did that. And then we got into the hotel at 2 in the morning. We didn't have a hotel. Alicia gave us a hotel room because she got honored for the songwriting thing, the songwriting award. And they give you a hotel room, but she lives not that far from there. So she was like, I don't need this hotel room. Do you want it? And we went to a hotel room for 2 hours and woke up, and we flew back home. And then I came here, and I did 4 shows that day.
Sold out shows.
Sold out shows.
What was it like to come back home and see the support, see every single seat filled up, and be right here on the stage?
That's a feeling kind of unparalleled for me because of how long I've done this. I played guitar for 12 years at this point, and I started playing in bars when I was 12. I always say that doesn't mean I have bad parents. It means I have cool parents.
You do.
Yeah.
You're out there.
So I had been doing it for so long, and I played shows where 4 people were there, and I played shows where 50 people were there. And if there were 50 people there, only 4 of them would remember it the next day because it was in Smoke and Barrel or like Rudy's in Apex or Tavern 42 or something like that.
There was like this one time where we played a show and there was a table literally here in front of us.
Of 12 people.
And there was, so you could see,
uncomfortable.
and we photobombed their photo.
And they all got in front of the stage. They all stood up like this in front of the stage, and we're taking pictures, just right in front of us. And so Patrick and I are in the back of those pictures somewhere, making the worst faces.
On MySpace. Yeah.
And so, having that experience of doing that for so long and then coming back and have people listen and have people pay to see you, and so many people came, is such a great feeling. You feel like in these bars that you don't really matter, or no one's listening, or no one will remember you. And I don't believe that's true anymore. I have a lot of more people say, I saw you at Brick City South, or I saw you play at Karma, or I saw you play at Smoke and Barrel. And I know him too. He was playing that box.
Cajones, you call it the cajones?
Yeah, that's what they do.
Boy,
so
you good at that,
people
boy.
are listening, but I say that when we got here and we were playing the songs, it felt weird because no one was talking over it, and I was like, "This is odd." Like, I've never heard the songs like this. Can you guys like talk about like how you want another shot or something, and then it'll make them sound right? So that blows my mind, and I bet a lot of you were at some of those or some of those since, and I appreciate you keep coming back. It means a lot to me.
I mean, I like that you do shows here at the Temple or Man just a few weeks ago, and then go over to Smoke and Barrel and
Yeah,
keep
man,
performing.
you can take the how do you say it? You know what I meant to say. You can take the kid out of Sanford, but you can't take the Sanford out of the kid. There's nothing more fun than playing in bars. Playing at Smoke and Barrel in particular. We played there so many times, and we've had such a good time there. And I can't imagine, it's so hard for me to imagine playing here and then not going to Smoke and Barrel and playing a show.
Sometimes you even just drop by Buchanan's Music and
Yeah,
hang out there and play.
I do
So
that
that's
too.
kind of cool. So you mentioned that on the way back you had a date set to record an album and picking songs for it after the Bruce show. How long after the show did you get to or did it get to be to where you got to record that?
So we recorded this album in July. I flew to LA. I went to my cousin's house. I stayed with him for 2 weeks. And we started recording. Well, I went out early to see the Dead because I'm a big Deadhead. And we drove down to Chula Vista, which is underneath San Diego. It's about 20 minutes from Tijuana. And it was 120 degrees. And we were riding in a car with no air conditioning. And it kept overheating. So we would always have to turn the air on, but it was just even hotter air coming to our face. I have pictures of me. I looked like a tomato in the passenger seat. And I went out there early for that, but we recorded the record in 2 days at this studio called Neptune Valley, which used to be, it was Paul Allen's house when I was there. Paul Allen has since passed away. Rest in peace, Paul Allen. And before that, it was Rock Hudson's house. And we had the best time. It was like in this beautiful part of Beverly Hills, really high up on this mountain. And we just hunkered down for 2 days. Me and the band from The Voice, Alicia would come in the morning and say, hey, have a good day. You can do this. And she would come in at night, and we would huddle together and listen to what we did over the day. She'd give us notes, and we'd fix it the next day. There was only 2 days, so we didn't fix it the next day. But and the second day we had dinner. Her and Swizz and her 2 kids came over, and we all had dinner that night. And it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Alicia seems like the type of person where she always would know what words you need to hear to give you the confidence boost.
Oh yeah, you know that 'cause I made him watch part of The Voice today because he hadn't seen any of
Because
it.
I haven't seen any of it.
And if you listen to her talk, it's like, how do you know the things that you know? How are you only like 37, 38 years old? You feel like so embedded in time. You're like, you've always been, is what that wisdom is. She always knows the right words. She's like so zen. She's like a philosopher, man. She's a modern day Socrates.
But do your I can't speak.
But she talks about blessings a lot. She talks about
blessings.
light, blessings, and all that stuff. And I love it. It's so encouraging. It makes you feel like you are one with Alicia.
So after those 2 days, you guys took a trip to West Virginia?
Oh, I flew home and went to West Virginia with my 2 best friends. And we went because this town is famous. Get this. This is crazy. This town is famous for the thing called the Mothman. And in 1966, there was 200 reports of a 7-foot tall creature with a 10-foot wingspan that could fly at 100 miles an hour and chase people's cars. And I was like, this sounds like the kind of place where we should go for like 4 days and hang out. And we did. And we stayed in what is apparently a haunted hotel. And we went to the Mothman Museum.
I'm sure you love the haunted
We
hotel.
took pictures with the Mothman statue. We went to the bunkers where they saw the Mothman. It was awesome. You guys
Interesting.
It was
Okay.
great. Oh, it was so fun. But the reason why you're asking me about this wasn't because of the Mothman. It's because of something else. And so they had this, it's right on the border of West Virginia and Ohio. And there's the Ohio River, obviously, that separates the two. And they had a floating dock sitting there. And we just went out there and sat down, and we just were thinking about the record and listening to some of the mixes and stuff. And we thought we were out there for an hour, and we were out there for like 5 hours. And I had like checked my phone, and mom was like 42 missed calls. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Rightfully so, though, because
They were worried.
Well, I'll tell you why they were worried. When we went
every
to a
30
haunted
minutes.
a haunted nightclub to do a ghost tour, and it was in Kentucky, and my Google Maps took me through Ohio, and I was driving Dad's truck, and someone hit me from behind when I was in Ohio. There was no damage to
Yeah,
the
he's
truck
fine.
or
It
his
was
car.
fine.
It was fine.
Yeah, they hit the trailer hitch. That's what they did.
They hit the trailer hitch, which hurt them worse than it hurt me. But I remember looking in the mirror, and all three of us went, ooh, mm-mm. It was just collective. And that's why they were worried, is because Dad's truck almost didn't come home.
Well, we're glad you did.
Me too.
So you mentioned reflecting and listening to the mixes and all that stuff. Should we play some?
Yeah, I want to play you guys a little something, because there's no current plans for this to show up anywhere. It's on the shelf, and it's just sitting there, and it'll be there for a little bit because we decided to scrap it. So I figured we might as well play we don't have to play the whole thing, but we can play a little bit of it. So this song, if you listen closely, and you will have to listen closely, in the chorus of this song, there's this and that's Alicia. So that's why I wanted to play this one, is because I think that's really cool.
Walls fall down to the pouring rain. Sun's drowned out by a runaway train. No more excuses, not a place to hide. I'm just sitting around waiting for the best day of my life. Sitting around waiting for the best day of my life. I'm always sitting around waiting for the best day of my life. You keep me sitting around waiting for the best day of my life. Look at me just sitting around waiting for the best day of my life. I'm always sitting around waiting. I'm just sitting around waiting. Alright. I'm sitting around waiting. Oh, I'm sitting around waiting.
So that's a little bit of something.
You guys are rocking.
That was a lot of fun to
Whenever-
record.
That's all right.
Whenever
Yeah,
me
man.
and Britton, we would listen to this in the truck. This was not in the timeline. We also never talked about this before. And we would like get emotional talking about this record. Being like, dude, you're gonna put it out, man. It sounds like Bruce, man. It sounds like Tom, and it sounds like Jackson Brown. We were like, we love this, man. And now we're like, oh, well, we're not gonna put it out.
It's never,
But I thought it was,
We were like, this is gonna be so good, man. and he was like, I'm so proud of you. And I was like, thank
I like
you.
texting it. Yeah. I
But-
mean, I really was. At the time, I was like,
Not
it's gonna
anymore.
be you. Yeah, not really. I don't know.
Well, it was a good time, but we'll talk a little bit more about not
why it didn't come out.
why it didn't come out.
Yeah.
After Virginia, though, I drove back home and we went to Kentucky together. We
Literally.
went zip-lining
No, we went to Kentucky literally the next. You got
the
home,
next day.
That next day we drove back
We
then?
went zip lining, and we went
Did a
to
lot
a
of
pet.
things.
It was like a petting zoo, but not really. But they had like a bunch of venomous snakes, and we
couldn't
were
pet
like,
them.
"That's kind of cool." And so we were like sat there, and it was feeding time, and they put like live mice in,
Mm-hmm.
and there was this one mouse that was there for like 20 minutes, and he just was so good.
Yeah, it was like, okay, the cage is like 20 feet, no, it's maybe 15 feet long, and he got from over there,
and then on a rock.
Like,
It was
there's like-
amazing.
there's like
You
10
had to be
snakes
there,
in
and
there.
we're sitting in front of the cage. We're going, "You can do it. You can do it."
You got it, buddy.
And
He survived
that
a
was
really long
that
time.
was a lot
And then
of
he
fun.
died. Sorry, guys.
He did end up passing away.
But see, this one, the way he died, I think he was
Rip.
bitten. The other ones, they were like strangled to death, so we didn't have to watch that. Our favorite one died like
Y'all
that.
watched this whole thing?
We did.
Dude, it took a long
And then
time.
Britton ate fudge afterwards and peed in a bathroom. That's outside with the man in it. Sorry.
I don't know.
No.
With a man
Do you
in
remember
it.
that one
No,
that had
I
the
don't
guy?
remember this. We can talk about
It's the
this
one
later.
outside. Okay, you know how the goats are on top of that thing? And then there's that bathroom down below, and it has like a plexiglass, and then the guy is sitting there singing songs. Like it's like a fake, like a dummy.
Oh, like the fortune tellers in the little booths. The
yeah, but
animatronic
it's in the bathroom.
Verlin will
We're
tell
in
your
deep in
fortune.
Kentucky.
And it was in the bathroom, and it just went off.
And
I
so
was
you
like,
just-
"Whoo!" It was one of those
Yeah.
things.
And you sit there
I didn't even
like
remember
this,
that.
and he's over here, and you
Well,
sit there.
I got my fortune told.
Bet.
Sorry.
What's next, Patrick?
New
Just
York.
move it on, man.
Yeah, let's go on from that. So you went to New York after that?
I
After that
did.
then? Yeah.
I did, and we finished up the record, which is when all
Which
those
is-
backing vocals were recorded. We went to New York and we did that. My dad and I got stranded in New York City because apparently flights don't leave LaGuardia ever.
Definitely
and-
not on time.
No, they never do. We had 2 flights get canceled, and then we had to like pay $900 to fly out of Newark. It was this whole debacle, and I had to get back because I had tickets to see John Hyatt, and I had to get back. And then Dad was like, "I can't stay, I have to work." And so there was extra motivation for the both of us, but we got stranded in New York with our friend Rocco.
Rocco's a character.
You don't have to know
Do you
about
know
Rocco. I feel like we all know
I
a
know
Rocco anyway. Even though they're not named the same thing, we all know a person who is and will always be what Rocco is.
So you guys took a trip together to Virginia and Lockin.
Yeah, we did. I did a little Virginia run of shows, and after a show, we took off to Virginia.
Back
A
to
4-hour
Virginia.
drive back to
In
Virginia
the
to
middle
see
of
the
nowhere.
dead. And you guys, who knows Muncie Weeby? Who knows Muncie
Yeah,
Weeby?
Muncie.
A lot of people know Muncie Weeby. So
guy's
Muncie, we stayed with Muncie, and we get into this cabin
cabin
at 4
in the
o'clock in the
middle of-
morning. It's the middle of nowhere, and
Let's
we get.
also say, first of all, we had to drive down basically a ditch where it goes like this, and the road is in the middle, and then we had to turn onto a little road,
called a divot.
a divot.
Yeah, but
Wait, is it actually called that?
I don't think I've ever heard
we
it
get
called a
it.
divot.
Well, we get in, and we're not sure we're in the right place, and so we open the bedroom door and look in, and we can't see anybody, and all of a sudden we just see this person. You know, like when Dracula comes out of the coffin, we see this person raise up, and he goes, "I see you," and that's what Muncie did. And then we were up 4 hours later, and we were at a music festival all day.
We also stayed up most of that night too when we got there.
Yeah, it was a whole
Yeah.
thing. Let's talk about
Sounds like a lot
music.
of fun. Yes. So you went out. October 2018 was a very important month for you. It was the first time you went back out to the West Coast to perform after The Voice.
Did
And,
my first show on the West Coast there.
Backstage, you were asked a very important question that kind of changed your life.
Yeah, my cousin, his name's Link, and he has a little show on YouTube. He said, "Hey, Christy and I were thinking maybe you should move in with us." And I said, "Does January work?" And he said, "Yeah." And then so I moved in with Link, and that changed my life. I've been in LA ever since. I just signed a lease on my own place. It's a big step, and I love it out there.
So you just said yeah right away. You didn't.
I did.
Talk
I
with
didn't
your
even think about
parents
it. No.
or-
Well, he asked me after I had gotten home. It was the day after I got home, and I was laying in bed. Yep, that's exactly what it sounded like. I made that noise. I said, "Do you want to live in L.A.?" And I said, "Yeah." And so I walked in the living room and I said, "Blake asked you to move in with him," and Dad was like, "What?" And I said, "I'm thinking the same thing, man." And he was like, "Well, tell him you'll do it." And I said, "All right, I'll do it. I'll be there in January."
How'd you feel about that? Your best friend was leaving.
Very sad. I still am sad about it because he's still gone. He's not just leaving. He's gone.
Not
No,
dead.
in all honesty,
He's gone.
At first,
He is gone. He is not coming back. He is gone.
He's
Move
not here
on.
right now.
Get over it.
Doesn't come visit.
No, I was sad.
Was that a
but
teardrop?
At first, come again?
Was that a teardrop I saw you say? Oh.
You see how I wipe my whole entire face? No, I was honestly really sad, but at the time I was really excited. Again, we live vicariously through each other, so I was like, you came in second, I came in second. You moved out to California, so do I. No, but I was excited for him, but also we don't know how to not be. Wait, hold on. We don't know how to be away from each other, so I saw him once a month.
So just
what are you talking about?
sad.
Well, we FaceTime
Kinda
every day. I don't know what
know.
he's talking about. He flew
I mean,
out to
obviously
LA.
there's a
reason why I don't
he's
talk as
flown
much
out to
as he
LA.
did.
That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
I'm saying I saw him a lot,
Yes.
but I still missed him a lot.
Did you miss him a lot too?
Oh, that's yeah. Obviously, it's my best
FaceTime
friend in
every
the
day.
entire
Don't
world. I
make him
talk to him
cry
every day.
more.
It doesn't feel like I'm not seeing him because I see him every day.
Right there, laying in bed. We lay in bed together.
No, we do not.
Right there.
He said, "I live vicariously through each other." He's laying in bed. I'm laying in bed.
Patrick, context is important, okay?
Oh,
Oh, that's funny.
So you moved in January 2019. By this point, we knew each other,
We did. We met at a QDR show.
correct? And I did video for you.
Yeah.
Well, for the show, for QDR. And I told Britton, I said, all right, well, he let me record his whole set. And I said, well, I'll give you the video to put on your website. And he goes, oh, I don't have a website. So we kept in touch. Since then, we've built a website. And you can go to BrittonBuchanan.com to see that.
and Patrick, I almost said Patrick thought me and Britton were just going to take it over. Turns out,
Yeah, he was
now
going.
That was the plan, was for them to just take it over. And
He
not
said,
have
"Why
me-
don't you come over today and figure out how to do everything, and that way you can do it
And he
yourself."
showed us, and we still don't know how to do anything on that.
So now Britton just texts me, hey, I need this done.
I couldn't log into my email the other day. I'm like sitting there going, at BrittonBuchanan.com. The password is right. Enter, and it's not working. And I had to call him. How do you get into the email account, Patrick? So I still don't know how to do it. That's my daily life for me, though.
But you moved out there in January, and by that point, your album that you recorded in July, still not out.
It's not.
And that was still not to this
Yeah.
day. That was kind of the time frame that you decided this wasn't going to be the record to release. What kind of went into that decision?
I woke up one day and I said, this doesn't feel right, you know? And I had been talking with Alicia and someone else that was really close to the project, and they had made it apparent too that, like, maybe what if we did something a little more accessible? What if we did something a little more mainstream, a little more commercial that allows you to have a familiarity that brings people in? And you can delve deeper and get them, drag them under, kicking and screaming, maybe, but at least you're getting them to something that is a little below surface level, a little, I don't know the right word, maybe intellectual, or a little more just detailed storytelling. And so we said, well, let's change the sound of all of this stuff and start over from scratch. And it's hard because I had everybody asking me, and I love that everyone asked me, where's the music? Where's the album coming? When's it coming out? Where's that at? Where's this? Where's that? And at some point, you're just like, it does not work that way. It's not that fast. And you can't, and I can't say anything because I'm in the middle of it. And that's another big reason why we wanted to do this, is so we could film it and kind of put it out there and be able to tell that story of, like, you know, it's been a really hard, long road. And I'm glad that I can finally give some insight into it. But yeah, we just decided, we said, this isn't right.
And it's always that first one you want to make sure that's
Yeah, it's the
really
first release.
good, and you're not rushing anything, because for the first one, that's the first impression of Britton that a lot of people are going to get that did not watch The Voice.
That's it. I mean, you can't mess up the first time. It's just all about trying to make sure that's right.
But being out in LA gave you the opportunity to kind of branch out. You had always written your own songs by yourself, no
Right.
one else. So it kind of allowed you to start co-writing.
Yeah, it was someone else's idea, and I'm glad that I took it. They said this is a way for you to meet producers to help you kind of expand that sound. You can write with writer producers and go in and do this. And starting in May, I co-wrote with a new person every single day. I found someone that I loved. His name's Derek Furman, who I wrote this song with and who produced this song. I've written with J.D. Souther multiple times. He's one of my really good friends at this point, and I feel very fortunate that I have that relationship with him, and I wouldn't have it had I not started this co-writing process, because it's a different form of creativity. When you're by yourself, you usually write when inspiration strikes. It's not one of those things where you sit down in the morning and say, pen to paper, fingers to guitar, I'm going to write a song. And so the concept of co-writing and saying, I'm going to get there at 1, and I'm not going to leave until we finish a song, was an extremely interesting creative exercise for me, because you don't get that opportunity a lot, to be able to say, I'm going to do this, and I'm not leaving until I do. Taught me a lot.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Patrick.
That's fine. Patrick wants to talk. You can talk. No, I was just gonna pass out another compliment like I always do. After like the 10th session of you co-writing, this is just a conversation between me and Britton. Please don't listen. After like the
Earmuffs,
10th, I'm gonna talk
everybody,
to you
earmuffs.
guys. After the 10th, maybe the 5th, like time you co-wrote with someone, I used to be able to like recognize like a Britton song, whether someone else was singing it or not, but like you turned into like a different animal, like in a really good way. And I think it's a testament not only to your talent, but like how great of an idea that was to like branch out, because
Thank you, Patrick.
you went from like a good songwriter to like an effing great songwriter.
Thank you for censoring
I went
yourself.
from a good songwriter to a good songwriter that writes with other people too.
No, but also, no, I'm not. Just go ahead. whatever.
Someone loved that
cares?
one. That's what I'm here
You-
for. I'm here for
anyways.
you, baby.
But no, you really grew honestly in this like
Thank
past
you very
year.
much. He's been having a hard time with
I
these
need a
papers
table
this whole
up here
time.
or something. You wouldn't let me have a table up here. It's back here, though. So that actually brings up a good question. We took questions from people online, on Twitter, on the website. Kayla from Twitter asked, is there any place that you can go to physically or mentally to draw inspiration from when you write, or do you mainly write when the inspiration hits you?
I write all the time when the inspiration hits me. I find it's very hard to force inspiration. It's very hard to co-write when you're not used to it. And it's very inspiring creatively, but making yourself do it is the inspiring thing. I don't know if I've ever walked in a co-writing session with inspiration. I've walked in and had inspiration strike, but I don't know if there's any place that I can really go to that's like, wow. Like on command, but it happens all the time. I've written about it. No, probably not them either.
Sorry, man.
I always get inspired when I see you.
Rhonda and Russ from Facebook, when you create, what is it that moves you? Is it a person, a feeling, a word, or a sound? What draws your imagination into the creative process of storytelling?
I think it's anything that you really want it to be, I get inspired by movies a lot. I watch a lot of movies and I read a lot of books, and those
Horror
are very
movies.
inspiring. Scary movies, I like
Yes.
scary movies. But even then, there's some beauty in it that's really inspiring. And it can be anything. A lot of times it's people, a lot of times it's places, a lot of times it's movies, a lot of times it's books.
I've told you this before, kind of like Patrick was saying. I know nothing about songwriting, couldn't do it one bit, but I think you're probably one of the best songwriters I've heard. And also, I think you're one of the best guitarists I've ever heard, too.
Thank you, Patrick.
I actually think he's better at both of those than he is the singing.
Oh, thank you. I
Yes.
think so too, man.
Yeah, so we agree on something. Good. Well, more about songwriting from Tamara on Twitter. What would you say is the hardest part about writing a song?
This is an easy answer. It's the first line. It's if you can get past the first line, the rest is kind of like is a waterfall. But like to make that little like faucet leak. That's a weird analogy, but to get that leaky faucet to just get a big drop, boy, that's that's the hardest part.
You should say that.
That's the hardest part.
Okay. Do you kind of what works best for you, or does it depend on the song? Do you kind of like start off with the chorus?
Oh, you
or-
done switched the
I
microphone
did.
off.
Do you start like with the chorus, or is it always the first line, or is it just when you? Hear
I mean,
something-
it comes in different ways. I don't know what else to say. It just happens.
So it varies.
It varies.
Okay. All right. So let's get to talking about "Cross My Mind." You wrote it with Derek.
Yeah, Derek's great. I love Derek.
Take us through that process of writing with him and kind of how it all came together.
Derek and I had a session, and I went over to his house, and we listened to 2 songs. One was it was a Vampire Weekend song. Now I'm not going to remember what the song was. And we listened to a George Ezra song, and we were like, well, if these 2 songs had a baby, and we wrote it, what would it be? And then we wrote this song.
Nice.
Oh,
And did you start on the guitar? Like how did
It was
that-
all good. It started on the guitar. Well, you know what? How about I demonstrate it? How's about
That's a good
that?
idea.
Yeah, we could kind of go through it and talk a little bit about. I mean, every word is important when you're writing a song, I think. And so when you go through. So it started with just us kind of doing this like this chugging thing. And then I had this.
Sounds like the
idea.
beginning of 9 to 5.
Tumble out of bed. Yeah, it was kind of like that. But I had this idea that was like, when I come back to this place and I feel that breeze upon my face, I do remember our endless teenage fight, setting fire to the night to watch the embers. And that was the first idea, and you know, it's like every word is important because that sets up the entirety of the song. It's like, when I come back to this place and I feel this breeze upon my face, I do remember our endless teenage fight, setting fire to the night to watch the embers. So it tells you where you are, it tells you come back to it, it tells you that you can't let go, it tells you what you used to do and what you're doing now. And that's very important. And then there's that pre-chorus. Now that it's gone, your ghost won't leave me alone. Now that you're gone, my mind keeps wandering home. Now that it's gone, now that you're gone. That's kind of self-explanatory. You left me and now you can't leave. You know, it's one of those things. You've left me, but you're not here, but you're always here kind of situation. The chorus. Summer nights together, frozen in the amber. If nothing lasts forever, why do you cross my mind whenever I find something better? If nothing lasts forever, why do you? That whole thing is like, if nothing lasts forever,
Right,
why
that's
do
a good
you?
chorus right there. I'll tell
Thank
you.
you very much.
Real good.
But that's it. Thank you. That's really the key line, though. If nothing lasts forever, why do you? I think is the whole gist of the song.
Good job.
Yeah. But then it keeps going. I mean, there's all these things. Oh, and then it goes, not a day you don't cross my mind, which that's true, you know. That's all
That's that
about
Laura
honesty.
King thing.
My favorite line in the song is next, and it's in the river of my dreams, I feel the bursting at the seams and push towards you. Because it's like, hey man, I dream of, it's not a man, it's not anybody really. Sounds like I was talking to Patrick. Hey man. But it's like, hey, I can't get away from you even when I'm unconscious, you know? And even when you're there, I'm pushing to get even closer to you, I think is what it is. And these shoes here on my feet keep walking me back to your street. If only you knew. It's like I can't even, my shoes won't even let me get away from you. It's all about the inability to
Let it go.
to let it go. And I used to think it was about a person, and now I always think about it's about here, because, you know, I left at a really young age, which is when you're supposed to leave when you're young, and you know, I was always scared of getting stuck. So I got out as soon as I could, thinking that you can run from it and it can't find you, but it doesn't leave you. And you know, it was in the back seat when I drove to LA. It was there the whole time. You know, that where you grow up informs so much of your experience later in life. It informs the way you talk. It informs the way you think. It informs the way you rebel and the way you obey. And it doesn't leave you alone. Which is an experience that I'm grateful for. I'm glad that I can't shake it, you know. If you could, LA would be a much harsher city, you know. And so...
Well, it's something that I literally just had what I was going to say.
It's okay, Patrick. You'll think about it. You can ask me backstage.
Yeah.
But that's the song. That's the song. You'll hear it all in its suit and tie in a second. But maybe we should move into that.
Yes. Why don't you come back
Let's
over?
move into it.
Let's play the song for you guys. So this song hasn't come out yet, obviously. It comes out Friday, and thank you. I hope you're excited about it. I'm as excited as I am. I knew I wanted to play it for you guys before I played it for anybody else and before anybody heard it, because it just seems so obvious to me that this is the right thing to do. That, you know, you guys heard all of this before anybody else did, and it's not gonna stop now just because I live 2,500 miles away. So I wanted to do this so we all could listen to it together and be the first to hear it through these big loud speakers. And let's listen to it.
And real quick before we do play it, if you're live streaming on any social media right now, if you don't mind stopping, because otherwise you guys aren't the first to hear it. You're
and everybody else is going to hear it too.
So we would like everybody else outside of this room to hear it on Friday. All you guys get to enjoy it tonight. So
here we go. This is called Cross My Mind. Thank you guys for coming out and listening to it. It goes like this.
When I come back to this place and I feel that breeze upon my face, I do remember our endless teenage fights, setting fire to the night to watch the embers. Now that it's gone, your ghost won't leave me alone. Now that you're gone, my mind keeps wandering home. Now that it's gone, now that you're gone. Summer nights together, frozen in the air, but if nothing lasts forever, why do you cross my mind whenever I find something better? If nothing lasts forever, why do you? There's not a day you don't cross my mind. In the river of my dreams, I feel a bursting at the seams and push towards you. And these shoes here on my feet keep walking me back to your street. If only you knew. Now that it's gone, your ghost won't leave me alone. Now that you're gone, my mind keeps wandering home. Now that it's gone, now that you're gone. Summer nights together, frozen in the air, but if nothing lasts forever, why do you? by your side. I think about you all the time. Not a day you don't cross my mind. Summer nights together, frozen in the air, but if nothing lasts forever, why do you know? Cross my mind whenever I find something better. If nothing lasts forever, why do you know? There's not a day you don't cross my mind.
That's it. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys coming out tonight. This was a very scary thing for me to do, to play this in front of people. Thank you for being so kind. Be good to each other. Peace and love. That's the way you got to do it, you know? So you guys take care. Be good to each other. God bless you guys. Thanks for coming out tonight.